This conference will now be recorded.
I would like to call to order the Monmouth City Council meeting for Tuesday, July 15th, and ask our city recorder, Phyllis Bowman, for the roll call, please.
Councillor Belts?
Here.
Councillor Carey?
Here.
Councillor Lopez is excused. Councillor McKeel? Councillor Oberst is here. Councillor Ridgway?
Here.
Mayor Kunz?
I am present. And Councillor McKeel, would you please lead us in the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That brings us to the consent calendar. We do have a couple of items in there. We had not gone back and approved the minutes of our joint City Council Planning Commission meeting of April 16th, so those are included, and the minutes of our last meeting on July 3rd. Any additions or corrections to those or a motion?
Move approval.
I'll second.
I heard you. Thank you, Councillor Oberst for the motion, Councillor McKeel for the second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? All right. That will take us to public comments, and I don't see any here. Did we have any submitted? I don't. Phyllis, did anyone submit public comment?
Mayor Kunz, we did not have anyone submit comments.
All right, thank you. That will move us quickly forward, the way we like it on a hot summer night, to a presentation visiting with our Arts and Culture Commission. We've had lots of opportunity to interact with them lately, but we will ask our Arts and Culture Chair to come on up, and she's got one of her members with her tonight, but we'll go ahead and have you let us know who else is on the Arts and Culture Commission. And thank you, Melody.
Thank you, Mayor Kuntz. I've not given one of these before, so bear with me. The Monmouth Arts and Culture Commission has been very busy this last year, even though we ended up deciding to take last July and August off. It wasn't entirely off. We were still working on our handbook for the city, and there was initial planning going on with one of our members and the library for the Tiny Art Show that we've had in January. We also created a catalog that is on Google Docs at this point of our permanent art collection. And I did that with all of the pertinent details of a standard permanent art collection, so that we can go ahead and share that with you, our council members, anyone in the city that would like to see it. They would be able to access it that way. We also met with, or three of our MAC members participated in an alley design comment session that went on, and put our 2 cents in with the other members, the community that were here, reporting on designs that they liked. We also started our rotating art gallery in the lobby of City Hall. Our intention was to get it going as quickly as October. We weren't able to do so until December, just because of timing, the way things go. We created a call for art and put it out there to the community, touched base with all of our artist friends to let them know, put it on Instagram, those kind of things. It was a very short turnaround time, so we didn't have as many interested parties as we were hoping for, but we did have 3 really solid submissions. So our first exhibition was that of Ron Wolf, and that went up from December until February. His work was the photographs on metal that were so outstanding that the committee or the commission chose to purchase one that is now in the conference room, the brown room behind. The next exhibition was Bruce Belts, and in part because the first artist was not one that was willing to have a reception. Bruce ended up being our first reception, and it was very well attended by about 25 people. He really enjoyed the exhibition and the reception time from everything that we were reported on. And everyone loved seeing his work. I mean, it's obviously exceptional. The next exhibition, which is currently up right now, is of high school student work. We had coordinated with Lauren Cooney, the art educator there, and the educator at Talmadge. We were hoping there was initial interest of 27 artists from the high school and about 22 from the middle school. We ended up with more from the high school, in part because Lauren was already going to be able to incorporate that into a lesson plan. And so she just doubled down on that, and there was a lot of participation from that. The middle school educator, it wasn't aligning with his, and so it was take-home projects, which fell by the wayside except for 2 students. So great lessons learned for all of us as far as incorporating anything with students. If it can be in a lesson plan, there's more chance that it will actually be accomplished and turned in and get done. The MAC chose to supply the canvases and D-rings and wires for that project. Some students, I think there were a couple of students that actually decided to do something on paper and then stuck it to the canvases. We wanted the canvases for ease of hanging with our rail system, so that's why they all are fairly similar in size and shape. I also had the opportunity to go to the high school and to teach the students how to attach the D-rings and wires, because it's surprising how often that's actually not taught. So that was really fun. We had a reception for the students at the end of June. The idea, because of the timing of the show, we couldn't do a reception really quickly because it was coming up on graduation and all the end of school year things. So we bumped that to the end of June. And unfortunately, a lot of students did not show up. It was a very small group of attendees, but Lauren's a phenomenal award-winning teacher, and she was there, and she talked to everyone who was there, the handful of people and a family and student, about each one of the pieces of art and why the student created it. And everyone said it was really fantastic to hear all that background story that she was able to provide. We will be creating a new call of art for, we also have our next artist coming up. It happens to be Pam Sarah Wentz, who is a local artist. And just so happens that in part because of her putting that out, she also is going to be on the council. You approved her to be on our commission. You approved her to be on our commission this last meeting you had. We will be putting out a new call for art for the 26th year in August. We're trying to find a way to make the application process easier. The first one had to do with Google Forms, and if you're not a Google user, that can be really difficult. So we're playing around with an easier fillable form and email process. Then in October, November, we were approached by Barb Cronin of the Senior Center to help facilitate with the AARP mural that has been kind of on the back burner with them because they've had other projects going on. So we have really taken the ball and run with that to help her out. We put out a call for artists for the mural project, but also knowing that we had very little money. There was only $2,000 seed money. The MAC has donated $500. We're talking to the Friends of the Senior Center and to potentially other Monmouth organizations to get more donations. But as opposed to trying to get more money first and having it wait even more time, we decided we'd throw it out there and see if there were any artists willing to work with us at our reduced budget. And there were 3 artists. Well, we put it out to about 5 local artists that the members of the MAC all knew and all thought might be amenable to working at a reduced rate. And 3 of them responded, and one specifically, her work was standout work and fit more of the prospectus that the senior center is looking for with the age-friendly design. And so we have been in conversation with her on the design, conversation with Barbara on placement. Initially, I had taken pictures, and this artist had also overlaid her designs on the wall towards Warren. But the bottom line is the senior center has some balls up in the air and potentially needs to have new paint anyways. So it was going to become a much more expensive project that way. So it was discussed to create it on panels instead, so that it could be either an interior mural that would be able to be then moved exteriorly down the line, or potentially even put in the alleyway, because the AARP did not specify that it absolutely had to be on the building. There was no specifics around that. So in talking with Barbara and talking with Suzanne, adding that bit of art to the alleyway where so many more people would be able to see it is a really great idea. At this point, the artist will be coming to the senior center on August 11th. Barb's going to be putting out notices and flyers to get a listening session so that the artist can show her work, the ideas that she has so far, and then receive input directly from members on what they like about the design, what they don't like, and where she might add more, go from there. She'll have another design session, and she's got a pretty quick turnaround. So we're actually hoping to potentially bring a proposal to the council either that following week, if she can pop it around that fast to your council meeting, or by the 1st of September. Part of our hustle on this is because the project has been like languishing for a couple of years, and it would be great to be able to take advantage of the weather and all of those factors. We're looking at potentially 4 4x8 panels, and our lovely commission member Sue has offered to allow her carport to be used for painting. So we'll be able to keep the artist out of the weather and yet give her a protected space to paint. So kind of that community coming together to make this project happen. Instead of purchasing more student art, we also decided to start presenting achievement awards. And so this year with a gift certificate. So this year the student certificate of achievement went to Spencer Thiel for his ceramic work titled Bystander. And we purchased a $50 gift certificate from Spectrum Artworks to say thank you for his amazing work and to continue to allow him to purchase supplies to continue that work. In December, or I guess it was end of December, we were able to purchase a pedestal for the piece of soapstone artwork that's out in the lobby, and that was done with last bits of the ARPA funds. That brings us to January. Kind of jumping around my calendar here. The Tiny Art Show, our participation in our Tiny Art Show this year went up from 67 entries to 144 entries. There were 40 of them from the high school. Again, Lauren Cooney just really getting her students going. The other fantastic thing is we had 264 ballots that were put in for voting on people's choices. We had 328 visitors that came. And we actually extended hours, at least on one of the nights, from 5 to 7. There was that request from the previous year. And during those 2 hours, we had an additional 38 people come specifically because they were able to then come after work. We also, again, participated and paid half of the costs of those tiny art show supplies. We've also been working on a mural ordinance to give to the city attorney for approval so that Monmouth will actually have an ordinance to follow regarding murals, because we have 3 other business owners who would be happy to have murals on their building. And it is such a impactful way to have visual art in the community. And after going through the minutes from the start of the commission back to 2006, murals have been a hot topic since then. So it would be nice to actually fulfill the desire of the commission that has been ongoing throughout all of these years. We also did a podcast back in March that came out in April. Sharon Oberst and I were on the podcast with Sabra. That was a lot of fun, a little nerve-wracking, but a lot of fun. And we worked with Sabra to increase the visibility of the MAC and of the city rotating art exhibition on Instagram. They've also worked with the Motown Trekker Passport. One of the questions has to do with the rotating art exhibit in the city hall to pull people in. And we've contacted with MyNet, and up on their reader board, they have also added the city hall rotating art to their reader board. I'm sure there's more, but that's what I've got. Oh, yes, there's more. So there's a piece of art at the Monmouth Electric that was not in a professional frame. And so we have taken that and we're getting it professionally framed, and then it'll go back to the building. And then we've also rematted 3 of the watercolors. Many of you may or may not have ever seen them. They were done by an artist, and I'm blanking on his name, was street images of downtown Monmouth about 10, 20 years ago. And Phyllis had gotten them from somewhere. I'm not even remembering that, but they had been in someone's kitchen or something, and they were coated with grease. So I took all that apart and cleaned it up, but the individual that had matted them previously, they were all stuck together. So I was able to separate the mat from the original watercolors, and then we were able to get them rematted. So those will be upstairs, potentially in the 2nd floor in the next couple of weeks. And do you have any questions?
When do you sleep? Something.
It has been, but it's also really good.
Yeah, I've seen those watercolors. I actually had them on display at the bank during the sesquicentennial. You know, Jan Warden had a set of them, is where I got them, but I don't know who else had them. Very cool. Yeah, it's funny to see what downtown Monmouth looked like. Councilor Oberst.
So I think when the Arts Commission was first created, this was the idea, but it hasn't really been able to do this until now. And the level of stuff you all are doing is amazing. Keep it up.
Oh, thank you. And I forgot to mention, Commissioner Oberst or Councilmember Oberst is also helping us out exactly in the future with creating another pedestal for our lovely beaver sculpture that's upstairs, so that it will have a place out in the public, probably on the 2nd floor, so that people can see that piece of work as well.
Other questions, Councillor Carey and then Councillor Bells.
Just a question on what sort of articulation you have with the art department at Western Oregon. They've got their own series of shows and the Cannon Museum or gallery and so on. Are we able to like cross promote any of those things to get more interest there, and perhaps we could generate more interest for the things that we're doing from the university?
Oh, absolutely. I graduated from the university just a couple of years ago and worked with Paula and Eric in the art department. And so they absolutely know what's going on with us. And we are in contact with them about their exhibitions. And that's one of our mandates or one of our goals, one of our mission goals is to continue to work with other groups and continue that promotion of art. One of the things that we'd really like to do is create a brochure again, an updated brochure. The last one did have Cannon Gallery listed and a couple other things. One of my goals is to take pictures of all the public art that we do have. And actually, a lot of it is on campus to be able to highlight, and people don't think about it. Even some of the relief work that's on the buildings, we often walk by it and don't even think about that as being art, but it is. And so that's one of the projects I'd like to accomplish this next year, is to actually get a photographic representation of all the public art that we really do have in town already.
I think that's one of the underappreciated elements that we have, because a lot of that percent for art that is associated with construction on the Western campus is sometimes appreciated on campus, but not necessarily recognized or appreciated by those off campus. So I think I really applaud that if we could get that kind of, that people could go see the hamburger, they could go see the swimmer's arms, they could do,
Right, exactly.
all of those things that often get overlooked. So thank you.
Councillor Bells.
I was wondering if you have any plans for the 250th anniversary of the country. And I would love to say the 50th anniversary of the bicentennial, because I can't remember the whole big word for 250th. But I know that's next year, but I'm just curious if you've had any conversations yet about that.
We haven't at this point. We'll be having strategic planning meeting coming up probably in August and in September. What we've done previously is just looked out basically. We have our 5-year plan, which is a nice overview, but we've just looked out each year for what we can do. And one of my goals is to actually do a little bit more concrete planning that 3rd year, that 4th year out, so that we're working towards those concrete goals. So yeah, well.
Councillor McKeel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This amazing amount of work that the Arts and Culture Commission is doing. So thank you for that. I remember, unless I'm misunderstanding, that the Arts and Culture Commission was looking at bringing in or promoting Native American artists, developing a collection. Is that still under consideration with your strategic planning?
One of the things that we would like to do is build that relationship and be able to potentially have that be a collection piece that we would then purchase for the city. One of the issues with our city collection, and it's been mentioned previously, but I'll mention again, is and I'm a student or an ex-student that benefited from this before I was even on the commission. It was great to have the commission purchase a piece of my art. Getting into understanding curation, and especially with buildings, with public buildings, our art collection is very eclectic. Let's say it's fantastic work, but it is not necessarily a cohesive whole that you would normally see in a public building. One of the reasons we wanted to start doing the rotating art gallery is threefold. Albany has a rotating art gallery. Kaiser has rotating art in their city. It saves the city money because they aren't actually having to purchase art and then store it when everybody gets tired of it. And it keeps it fresh and alive. And so you've got something new all the time. So looking at where do we want to go from here with any collection purchase or even donations, we have to keep in mind we have very little wall space to do that. The wood walls are beautiful and we can put things on them, but it's got to be a very unique piece that'll work. And then how do you want that collective whole to look? That answer your question? Kind of rambled a little bit. Yes, we're working on it. I don't know when it'll happen.
All right. Seeing no other questions, thank you, Melody. Thank you, Sue, for coming tonight, and thank your committee for all their hard work. And that will bring us to our actual business agenda. Our first item is our annual communications report. So our communications coordinator, Saber Jewel, I'm sure she has lots of great stuff for us.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for letting me come and speak to you again. It's been quite some time since I've given you an update, and I apologize for that, but we've had a lot going on. So I'm going to try to give you kind of an overview of some of the cool things we've been doing and some of the engagement numbers that we've seen. For those who don't know, my background is I have a degree in corporate communication from the College of Charleston. My master's degree is in public administration. I got that from the University of Colorado, Denver. But beside all of that, I've had 25 years in hospitality and event management. And I think you'll notice that that's at the core of my approach, right? Bringing people in through that honest engagement that we get when we break bread across a table. And our town hall style will reflect that. So that's just a little bit about what drives me and my passion. Your council goals are incredibly helpful in the work. I'm a department of one. So what you'll see tonight, I hope, is a reflection of those goals. Those are my watchwords. When I'm dealing with prioritizing my work, those are the things that I go back to make sure that we're staying on the right path and how I can best allocate my time. Now, I was told by somebody smarter than me in a rural community, everybody has a job outside of their 9 to 5. I'm looking at people who understand that very, very well. When I'm in the community doing the things I do, I represent the brand. I take this brand with me wherever I go. So I do want you to know that I am out and about talking to folks. I am your Rotary president, which means I just got finished with my biggest event of the year, which is our parade. I'm also on the board of the University Foundation. I tend to MC an event or two. You will see me at Music in the Park this year. I also do a lot of training and networking events with Western Oregon students and in high schools. I taught a high school class last week. That's a terrifying age group. I have a lot of respect for our teachers that teach high school, but I teach them a lot about their power of their own personal brand, how to network, how to bring that stuff to the table early and often. And I also work with the Oregon Association Peace Officers. Okay, hold on, I said that all wrong. The Oregon Peace Officers Association. There's a PIO branch, and I am the regional representative, which means my region is Marion, Polk, and Lynn and Benton counties. And so we work together with other people who do the work I do. We give each other support. There was a situation in Silverton recently that ended up being a swatting, but they thought it was a school shooter. Before that even hit the media, I was on the phone with my contact in Silverton to see if she needed support, right? And so that's the kind of support that we'll get in return should we ever need that as well. So that's an incredible level of outreach that we get. Now, where you'll see me serving the public in this realm is a lot of different places. This is just a sampling. I monitor 12 social media sites, and I manage 8 of them daily. So every day I'm monitoring 12 and I'm managing 8 of those. Those are mine. Alongside that, some other people have access to it, but overall, those are the ones that I do. I'm also responsible for 3 of our monthly publications, our podcast, the utility bill insert, and our e-news. And if you're not subscribed to our e-news, you're missing cute photos like that you will only find there. So I do recommend that if you're not looped into some of these, that you do, because they are a great source of information. And now I do support all of our departments from, our building department, community development, senior center, but I am a 24/7 service for these 3 departments you see here. Public Works hasn't leaned on my services in the middle of the night the way that Power and Light and the police have, but they know that they can. And I appreciate the fact that they reach out to me, and every officer at this point will text me if they need me. They don't have to go through the chief or the lieutenant. They know to reach out to me for those kind of situations. I also support our board and commissions as much as I possibly can, because I love the work that they're doing, whether it's their events or their passions or the things that they are really excited about, sharing with the community, educational opportunities that they're doing. Those are the things that I really get a lot of joy out of promoting for the folks in this town. Stats. So when I presented to you last time, I really went over every single platform that we're on and what our baseline engagement was and how we've grown it. So I'm definitely not going to do as in depth with that as I did last time. What I will say is the cost of these things stayed the same over last year. I did build into this year's budget a little bit of increase on all these platforms just in case, a nice little padding, small increase just in case, because I was surprised that really out of all the platforms we used, only one of them seemed to go up. But hey, we'll maintain the intensity there. These are the platforms that you're going to see the most of, right? I would like to think you guys are engaged in one, if not all of these, or you are sending people to these platforms to get more information. The website's not mentioned here. That is one of ours, but we have found most of our engagement comes here. Now, our newsletter goes over 1,800 people. We have a high open rate. We always have. The click rate was really what we were working on, and we did raise that, a modicum amount, but we raised it. And we're going to continue to do things that entice people to look deeper. We have found in our e-newsletter, the new business spotlight is typically the thing that's what we tell our businesses. That's the thing that gets clicked the most. A lot of the library things, of course, music in the park, 4th of July, things like that. With Instagram, we are certainly up in followers, but what I've been really impressed with is the reach is up quite considerably in interaction. And that just means a lot more people have seen it and a lot more people are talking alongside it. And so that's cool. This is a newer platform for us. We've only had it for several years. So it's good to see this level of growth. They started it right before I got hired. And so we're in about our 3rd year for that. Facebook, we've had our Facebook account for a long time. So being able to see this little bit of growth feels pretty good, right? So our reach is up, followers are up, and engagement is up. So I'm pretty happy with the stats there, but always looking to see how we can make our stuff more watchable and more enjoyable. LinkedIn, during recruiting, that's where we get the most bang for our buck there. We find that we get a lot of hits when we're putting up jobs. Every time we get a post out, we have found the League of Oregon Cities is sharing it, the COG is sharing it. We have a lot of great partners linking up to us on LinkedIn. So you can also link yourselves to our LinkedIn by saying that you're a city councilor for the fine city of Monmouth. Please feel free to do that. I would love it. The podcast, which I know you're all fans of the pod. We've now won an international award, so now you know I'm serious. It's really good. Our listenership, we've had over 1,600 downloads. That's people who have downloaded it, not just listened. A lot more have listened. But our listenership spans 5 continents, 16 countries, 33 states, and 159 cities so far. Please tell your friends in Kentucky we could use a listener, okay? Thank you. Just give it a spin. Thank you. Cousin Albert would be thrilled. My husband lovingly calls the podcast the CBS Sunday Morning of podcasts, because just when you think a story's not going to be interesting, it becomes captivating. I don't know how I feel about that, but we have found that the podcast, since it also runs on KMUZ, we're getting a lot more attention there. The Power and Light episode got a lot of calls to the KMUZ studio after it. So Wade Carey, the man of Monmouth, here he is. The pod is pretty special too because it's a further connection to Western Oregon. We highlight their athletic programs. We highlight the arts. The Smith Fine Arts is a preview from last year, is our second most listened to episode, next to one about the trolley, and then Tuesday String Band, the house band of Monmouth. So we definitely have a good connection there. What's really cool is Smith Fine Arts has two artists that are going to be doing kind of a residency. One of them just came off Broadway, and she is going to be on my podcast. So Broadway stars are coming to Monmouth Monthly. So those of you with commutes, maybe you could listen to it, maybe just on your way to council meeting, just to get all pumped up for council. Another thing that I'm involved in that is kind of a quiet storm is the trolley. I don't think a lot of people know the trolley marketing. The trolley events have had a lot of my signature alongside my counterpart in Independence. This video is a series of videos that we've been working on to show ridership, to show the stories of our riders, and to share that with the public. If you have not seen this video, please check it out. Emmanuel Goikachea, my counterpart in Independence, and I have a really great working relationship, and our talents are very different. So when we do projects like that, it's a really kind of a neat thing to do, that we can attack that with a lot of excellence. So I appreciate working with him in that way. You know, we have had some serious wins this year, and a lot of things that I'm incredibly proud of, and so much to celebrate. And I give a lot of credit to the fact that I work with people who are willing to let me take silly videos of them, and let me show up to their events, and to let me be a part of their work, and to celebrate it. My favorite win, I'm calling this a win, y'all, because I thought for sure I was going to have to take a week off of social media and go fishing and leave town, just because you never know what kind of feedback loop you're going to receive. But this was an overwhelmingly positive reception to this brand, and so I was really thrilled. I think we can credit the fact that we brought people in early. We got community input early, and that branding circle, again, went back to that feedback. Every time we started doing Margaritaville birds, we went back to our feedback loop and said, what did the people say they wanted to see too? Right. So it was I love seeing it on the NPL vehicles, the public work vehicles. Which Officer Gibson just designed, I believe, one of the patches so I believe she might even have the new patch on. So we're seeing it. I gave staff like a 3 to 5 year plan, because it's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of money to do this. And I've appreciated their willingness to do so gracefully. This was fun. I got a drone grant, and I got to go get drone classes. I got test prep. The test was paid for, and they gave us money towards our drone. And if you can't tell where I am in this picture, I'm right there, buried in a sea of LEOs and firefighters and one insurance claim adjuster. But yeah, it was really, really cool. You know, for me, the drone serves a couple purposes, right? In my world, it's about producing beautiful photos and videos that we can share with the public, right? And to show Monmouth from just this great new image. But if you'll look at that picture on the right, that's a picture that I did. That's my very first roof inspection. I went out with our building department, and in 30 minutes, we were able to go get the drone up, take video footage and photographs of the roof, have that back to our building department within half an hour. They were able to do that. Whereas before, a crew member had to go up on a ladder, had to take the pictures. It wasn't one of our crews, so we had to coordinate with those crews. And so this will be a time saver. Now, for me, the pictures are the easy parts, the maneuvering I'm working on. I don't do my flight training and practice in the middle of downtown. I have a friend who owns a farm on the outskirts of town where she lets me come and do some of this stuff, because I really want to practice how to fly it in a way that when I go out with the building department, snap, I can get it done and we're not just messing around. So it has been a lot of fun to learn this and to share it with other departments. And I'm excited to see who else takes advantage of this great tool that we have. Now, Monmouth has presence, y'all. If anything, we show up out in the public, and I can't tell you how many compliments I know Suzanne and I will get from folks, that they're just so grateful that we're there, that we're at every one of our tabling events, that we're approachable, that people can come up, they get signed up for the newsletter, they get signed up for the podcast. We squelch rumors that are going around. We're able to really connect. You know, video and social media, that stuff's great and it's powerful, but nothing will replace the job that we do connecting to people one-on-one. And I think that's what makes us very special. So we do a lot of events. If you can see, this is our tent at our inaugural use of the tent at the Riverside Park in Independence for the last day of school festival. That's a fun event. We get to hang out with the kiddos and they come by and get all their summer swag. And we love that. AAPI festival, there was a presence. Of course, Pride. Thank you so much, all of the counselors who helped out that day. The Cultural Harvest Farmers Collective Market is a great place for people to get together and gather and talk to city staff. And of course, here's Juneteenth, where Councilor Lopez, before and after, this is what he looked like before he was covered in cotton candy, and here he is afterwards. But it's really great to have our counselors there being a part of this action, especially like at Music in the Park. There's still a lot of opportunities to come and just show up and hang out with us. We also look really good on TV, y'all. This was our coin segment. If you haven't seen this segment, please go check this out on our YouTube channel. We were able to work with our business partners, and obviously Wolfie is back there, and we turned this into a party. I don't know how many West Wing fans there are here, but it was 25 degrees outside, and I refused to let anybody but Emily wear a jacket, and it was only because she had had a bad day that day. But yes, theater of the mind. It was a warm, wonderful day in the city of Monmouth, so I recommend checking that out. But it was a good showing, and it is what we do. We do a good show to the world. We also do a great job of bringing people in. This is the People's House. We have always a great turnout at our town halls. We always have a great showing. Mayor Kuntz and I have a really good time working on State of the Cities. It's something that we spend a couple of months working on, and I think it shows because it's always a lot of fun to work on that. And again, it brings people in. In addition, the hearing loop has been really cool. I repeat, it is not just for people who have trouble hearing. I use it all the time because my brain is a little busy, and I have found it has helped not only all of us that have used it, but I've seen people in the audience who were having trouble staying connected before, and now they're coming back to meetings more often. So I feel very good about that, that we're able to provide that for people. We do have a lot of folks that are very happy with our level of communication and service, particularly during power outages. You know, I learned my lesson last time when I saw how many hits we got to the website with the last one. So the last one that we had, we had a couple small ones recently. That was one of the first things that I remembered to do was do that website trigger. But again, these are some of the compliments that we see from folks in the community. I love the meta analysis where people are wondering if the squirrel survived, because that did come up a lot. And I will have you know, I had a lot of puns for that post, but I refrained just because the squirrel didn't make it. And I didn't think that that was the right thing to do. Also, our interactions with police. This is one post. There was a person, it was an adult individual who was separated from their family. The police were not able to locate that family. Now that impression number, 106,000. A really cute dog going missing gets about 6,000. Somebody who robs a bank gets about 12. This was 106,000. This was a huge post for us. This was shared statewide. This was just another example of how people are leaning on our social media and know that they can go to that to get the information that they need. So what's next? Because we're not done, y'all. We are just getting started. You know, emergency management is always on my mind. Emergency communications is constantly on my mind. I want to continue doing those trainings. I have an incident command training level at about 400. I would like to do more PIO-based training and certifications just so I'm best equipped to serve our police force and fire if something were to ever happen where that would be necessary. Rochelle and I laugh at how nerdy we are, but I dream of an intranet. I dream of it. I dream of a place where all city employees can go on our website or on our main page and find information they need. We do a pretty good job of not siloing ourselves, but it still would help if we could communicate internally. That's one of the things I would like to see. Implementing our clicker technology. We got cool clickers that I want to do at our next town hall, and that to get some more community engagement. And so those are the big things. I know there's a ton of little things, of course, more video, of course, more fun, but those are some of the big things that we are working on. And I am happy to answer questions if anyone has them.
Gosh, seeing none. Get out.
She has left us speechless. Have you ever seen this body speechless? Astounded.
Great investment. Absolutely great investment on our part. All right, that brings us to the big exciting work of the evening, which is to do our second read. Yes, that is you, Carter. I don't usually say exciting before I call up Carter Craig, our community planner, but in fact, tonight, adoption of our economic opportunity analysis.
Hello, yes, so we're here at the second reading of the ordinance, which would enact the changes that we've been working on to the economic opportunities analysis and the land use and economics parts of our comprehensive plan, as well as some of the zoning ordinance that affects commercial and industrial development. So I'm here for any questions before we kind of discuss. We're at the last checkpoint here before adoption.
Questions, comments, or there is a proposed motion in the packet.
I would move to adopt ordinance number 1420, an ordinance adopting the City of Monmouth Economic Opportunities Analysis dated May 2025, amending Title 18 of the Monmouth City Code and the comprehensive plan relating to the zoning ordinance, land use, and economic elements, and repealing prior and conflicting ordinances.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Oberst, for the motion and Councillor McKeel for the second. Any Councillor Carey?
For anyone who might be watching or checking in on this, we've done a lot of work on this. Planning Commission's been deeply involved. Council has seen this 3 or 4 times. We all talk about wanting to enhance our economic development in the city of Monmouth. In order to do that, as we said, we need to have a plan and that's based on data and based on professional opinions and good work by our own staff. So I think this is a great deal, and I think it's coming at a really good time, especially if our land swap deal works its way through. That'll give us some more flexibility on how we may be able to move around some currently residential land that might be employment land at some point. We don't know that yet, but it's really encouraging. It's encouraging to have a plan in front of us and one that we can work forward to fulfilling.
Yeah, good summary and a reminder, because this is part of the land use planning process in the state of Oregon. It really is looking at what kind of employment, what kind of industry, what kind of commerce we think we might need, and identifying land for that. So that's the plan, and we're required to do it. Luckily, we get a big grant to do it. We have Carter with nothing else to do to be able to focus on this for months at a time. So it is great. And at that, I will ask Phyllis for the roll call, please, on ordinance number 1420, an ordinance adopting the City of Monmouth Economic Opportunity Analysis.
Councillor Oberst,
Yes.
Councillor Carey,
Aye.
Councillor Ridgway,
Aye.
Councillor Beltz,
Aye.
Councillor McKeel.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for all that work. I'm sure we've got another plan that's about due for review to keep you busy after this. Thank you. We do have an executive session this evening, but I'd like to go ahead and quickly do any of our reports that we have so we can get those out of the way before we adjourn to our executive session. Tonight, that will be pursuant to ORS 192.6602D, which is regarding labor negotiations. And I will read the script before we go into executive session. Mayor's report, I'm just going to say 4th of July was fantastic. That was, again, in awe of all the work of our Rotary, the work of our staff, the work of volunteers, everybody who supported and came out, and it's just a lot of fun. And I have to say, for a new tradition, a new year, a new tradition, new mayors, we had a lot of fun walking with the trolley this year. And I will also say it was very nice that at parade start it was 77 degrees out, which was much more pleasant to walk. But great to see the community out and supporting the holiday and supporting all the work that our people do to put that on. So thanks to all of our department heads who are all out there and working extra hours. It's awesome. That's what I have. Do we have any Board or Commission meetings that have happened? quiet time of year. All right, that takes us to our city manager's report, Rochelle Roden.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to update the council and let you know that our backup trolley, the trolley number 4, arrived last Friday. It's being housed in the trolling building at Public Works right now, and we are working with Chariots and Minot to get it outfitted, branded, and road ready. So we're excited that that's here. I also wanted to let you know that I confirmed with Chariots that the $750 in STIF funding that we were given, we still get. It's not part of the transportation bill that failed. And so very excited to hear that. So we will have that along with the 1.75 million that Rep. Evans was able to help us get for the Christmas tree bill. Just some updates of things going on. A new Polynesian dance studio will be opening next to Cafe Aiula soon. Also, the Umpqua Bank location is being looked at for a possible restaurant space. The community development and city engineer team held a pre-application for a developer looking to do a 140 lot subdivision on the property north of General Woods Park, but south of the storage units. The Chamber of Commerce, I'm on the board of that. And so this week they voted to redirect funding. They were going to have the Golden Gala event, which was a new fundraising event, but they decided to redirect those funds to an adult Halloween party in October in the latter part of the month. So just to let you know about that. Summer reading, it goes through August 9th, and right now we have 300 children signed up for that, and 162 adults are participating in the summer reading program, so that's a huge success. The August 1st podcast will be with Jessica Steed discussing the Smith Fine Arts, and that will come out on August 1st. A new RFB will be installed at the Roths Crossing, in case you weren't aware of that, and so right now plans are being currently reviewed by the city engineer. Let's see. The pickleball ribbon cutting is this Friday at 4 p.m. And that's all I have.
Awesome. All right. Are there any announcements that need to be made before we dismiss some folks and head into executive session?
So I was playing pickleball with my son this morning when this giant squad of folks showed up. It was 5 moms with 8 kids, ranging from 2 to 5, I guess. So the notion of pickleball's for old folks. And they come every week apparently and have quite a good time playing pickleball in the morning with one of them watching the whole squad of kids while the other 4 play doubles, and they just take turns. And it was great to see. Really, really fun activity, and the kids were obviously having a good time. The older ones were circling the court on their bikes, etc., while the adults played. It was just great. It was fun.
All right. At this time, we will meet in executive session for the purpose of discussing labor consultations. This executive session is held pursuant to ORS 192.662D, labor negotiation consultants, which allow the council to meet in executive session. Designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. No decisions may be made in executive session. At the end of executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back. It is anticipated that action will be taken this evening after returning from executive session. And joining us in executive session will be our city manager, Rochelle Roden, our city attorney, Justin Thorpe, our police chief, Isaiah Haynes. We have Diana Moffett on the phone, and Phyllis Pullman, our city recorder. So all others may be dismissed. You're welcome to come back and hear our decision, but other than that, we'll be finished for the evening.
Mayor, Russ and Wade will be in the
Russ
executive session
also,
as well.
Russ also, and Wade, Carrie also. From
This
executive
conference will now be recorded.
session, and we are in a position to consider approval of the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Monmouth and IBEW.
Oh, can I throw something in there?
Yes.
And you kind of alluded to that. So some of the policy type discussion would have to take place outside of executive session. The executive session is really limited to discussions with your negotiating designees about, about the negotiations themselves. The kind of larger policy stuff would have to be outside of executive session. Whether it's before the executive session or afterwards, that's just not what the executive session is really for in this context.
Oh, sorry, I left this on. I think I was more, I'm just sort of flippantly referring to the policy, more about procedure, and the procedure that this went through is all about the contract negotiations. And it's all about how this is how this is tied to the contract negotiation. So I think I misspoke when I said policy. And trying to refer to us as a policy board. So that was probably my error.
Yeah, good. I think it's about process. Yeah, okay. All right, so on the contract between the City of Monmouth and IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electric Workers, that covers electric or power and light folks and certain employees at the Public Works Department. Do I hear a motion to approve the agreement as presented to us?
So moved, if that works for a motion, because that was a lot.
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Oberst for the motion and Councillor Belts for the second. And we'll go ahead and take a voice vote on this, Phyllis.
Councillor Ridgway,
Nay.
Councillor Oberst,
Yes.
Councillor McKeel,
Yes.
Councillor Carey,
Aye.
Councillor Belts.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, thank you. And our next item of business was a discussion regarding negotiations on the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Monmouth and the Monmouth Police Officers Association. And they have come to an agreement for a 3-year term as well, from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028. Are there any questions or discussion, or I will entertain a motion?
Move approval of the contract between the City of Monmouth and the Monmouth Police Officers Association.
Second.
Any other questions come to mind? All right. It has been moved by Councillor Oberst and seconded by Councillor Ridgway to approve the agreement as negotiated. And Phyllis will take the roll call vote, please.
Councillor Belts,
Yes.
Councillor Carey,
Aye.
Councillor McKeel,
Yes.
Councillor Oberst,
Yes.
Councillor Ridgway.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Thank you. We will get those signed, get copies signed and back to them. Thanks again to our department heads for their hard work. These are never fun, but sure appreciate getting some stability for 3 years for both of our bargaining units. That's pretty amazing. I feel really good about that. And thank you, Rochelle, for steering us that direction. So at this point, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Oberst. We are adjourned.